You're listening to Living with ADHD and CPTSD, available on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and other platforms. Welcome to another episode of Living with ADHD and CPTSD. Before I begin, as always, this is recorded in real time. There is no editing, pausing, trimming, or script. This is read from start to finish. Okay, so as you know now, I am dealing with ADHD and also dealing with CPTSD. It is not a kind disability combined, and the stories that I will tell you throughout the episodes will hopefully give you a real good insight into how my life is when it comes to this disability. Being blended is a term that a lot of people use for people who suffer from CPTSD, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It's basically like being triggered and experiencing a flashback. But the complexity and the issues that can come with being blended are very vast and can be very difficult on a person, not only to themselves, but to the people who they are around on a daily basis. I have many different examples and situations where I have been blended. But the problem for most people when they are first experiencing these flashbacks from having CPTSD is they tend to not even realize that they are blended with their parts. Now, a quick recap. Parts are traumatic events that have been created through your lifetime that are there to protect you when you are experiencing flashbacks of these traumatic events. It is a very common occurrence in people who suffer from CPTSD. Okay, continuing. I have had, like I said, many situations where I have been blended. I have experienced a trigger, an event in my life. Doesn't really matter what it is, but it causes me to become blended with my child parts. And what ends up happening for me is that I start to be acting out in the real situation as these parts. Now, I have many different parts that affect me when I am triggered. And some of these parts, well, actually, to be honest, a lot of them, most of them are child parts, aged anywhere from 5 to 12 to even as much as like 16 years old. They think that they are experiencing the traumatic event in real time, today. But they don't realize, of course, that it is not that day. It isn't the 5-year-old's time of 1983. It's actually 2021, but they don't realize this. And so they get activated and they start experiencing again and again the traumatic events that created and shaped them into being who they are today. So what ends up happening is something occurs. My partner gets upset at me and confronts me on an issue. And my system gets triggered. All of a sudden, it's like alarms go off. And the child part is going, uh-oh, he's in danger. Something's wrong. We better come online. We need to step in the way and protect them. And so what ends up happening is the child part gets activated and it takes over. At that very point, I am blended. I am blended with the part. The adult believes the parts and believes what they're telling them, or telling him, excuse me. And so the outward behaviors that are being expressed either by himself or to my partner can be a large, wide range of situations. They can say things like what was happening. I have an example actually that would be very beneficial to express here. I recently got triggered and became blended after being told that I wasn't moving fast enough. I was trying to get dressed to go out to go grocery shopping, and she said to me, "You got to move faster. You're not moving fast enough. I'm tired and we need to get going, get groceries." And I was arguing with her. And I said, "I can't move any faster. If I do, I'm going to mess up. I'm going to make a mistake. And I'm trying the best that I can." And she was not believing that this was the case and said, "No, I know you can move faster." So we continued on. I was starting to get ready and we went out the door and we were still kind of arguing about it. And she said a few times, "I think you can move faster." And I'm saying, "No, I can't. No, I can't." And then all of a sudden, just as we were getting ready to go into the car, I said, "All right, you know what? You're right. I could move faster. I guess I wasn't trying hard enough." And the thing is even though I said it, unbeknownst to me, I was already in a triggered state. I was already blended with my parts. And I had no idea. I didn't know. I was standing there really confused and kind of thinking and speaking out loud going, "What's the problem? I don't understand. I'm trying to tell you the honest truth." And she got upset and she walked to the house and she wouldn't talk to me for the next while. And my parts, of course, are starting to, they're already active and they're the ones that are doing the talking to my partner instead of the actual adult. And so the parts are saying things that are hurtful because they're trying to avoid feeling abandoned. I have a part that feels like when I'm being ignored or when someone walks away, they're afraid that the adult's going to be abandoned, that I'm going to lose that person, they're going to walk away, and that I'm going to be alone. And so they get scared. They're afraid of that. So they're trying to do anything that they can to avoid that from happening. And it can range from anything from trying to bargain to trying to say the truth, trying to apologize, trying to lie. And it doesn't work. Especially when the person is well versed when it comes to CPTSD, they know that the part is the one that's doing the talking and not the adult. And this is where the whole problem with being blended with the parts comes in. Because I'm still relatively new to the experiences and understanding of how CPTSD works with parts and flashbacks, experiencing the trauma, it is very difficult to understand that I am blended with my parts. I'm still learning and I'm still having a difficult time recognizing in the moment that I am blended with these parts, which in turn is supposed to have me turn around and stop talking and temporarily become unblended and say to her, okay, sweetie, I'm sorry, I'm blended with these parts, I'm experiencing a flashback, I need to stop and I need to go and process. I need to update this part and I need to ground so that this doesn't occur anymore. I'm sorry and I need to go. The problem is recognizing that I am blended to begin with. That is very difficult. It has created so many instances of fights and arguments and child parts being active and saying things that shouldn't be said. And then, of course, the adult gets into trouble, and because I am blended, I am defending the behavior instead of acknowledging the fact that what I'm saying and doing is hurting my girlfriend's feelings, and she's not being acknowledged, and I'm not admitting and accepting that I am blended with the parts and that I am triggered. It is a very complicated situation. I keep thinking that I'm getting stronger and I'm getting better, and that one day soon I'm going to be able to go, oh, damn it, I am blended. I need to stop because I'm hurting her feelings. These parts are saying things that are hurtful and mean-spirited, and coming from a child's point of view, feeling that they're being hurt and being in danger, and they don't have any ability to be the adult because, of course, child parts are children. They don't have any kind of adult ability. It's not all that complicated to understand that aspect of this. When you're a child, you don't have the adult experience. You're not mature enough. You haven't grown up to the point where you understand that saying things that are hurtful and mean and lying to your partner is wrong, that it is damaging to a relationship. They don't know this. They can't possibly understand. They're children. They act like children. They say things like children. It's going to someone and saying, you poo-poo head, you're such a dummy, you don't know what you're doing, and then maybe like kicking them or screaming and yelling and walking away, stomping on the ground with your feet, angry and pouting and going into the corner and with a pouty face looking at them going, you hurt me, how dare you, that's not fair. It's one thing for a child to behave like that, which I'm sure many of you have experienced firsthand. I'm sure some of you may have children, or your brothers or sisters or friends have children who have in many times behaved that way when they don't get their way. But imagine an adult behaving like that. The adult doesn't get their way or feels like it's not fair, so they start saying things to the person across from them. Can you imagine an adult, a 43-year-old adult, saying, that's not fair, you don't know what you're doing, that's mean, I should deserve better, I just want your help, and then calling them names or saying mean things to them, and then stomping off into another room and pouting and having a frown on your face and ignoring them and saying things that are hurtful, like saying, no, I don't want to help, no, I don't want to do that, or raising your voice, maybe calling them a name. Like, can you imagine the adult doing that to a person who doesn't know that they have CPTSD? Can you possibly imagine how that person's going to react? Like, I can imagine. I bet you would, if you didn't know that that person was suffering from a flashback and having their child parts active because there's a trigger occurring, that person would be like, "Are you crazy? What the hell are you doing?" Like, they would literally think that person is a moron or has mental issues, like a serious mental problem. And I'm pretty damn sure that they would want nothing to do with him in the future. And they would walk away, or they would say, "I hate you. What's wrong with you? Why would you say those things to me? Why are you acting like such a child?" And then they would be like, they'd get so angry and they would get frustrated, and then you could very well lose that friend or lose that relationship because your behavior is completely unacceptable. But they don't know that you're triggered. They don't know that you're experiencing a flashback. They probably don't even realize that you have CPTSD. So these kind of behaviors are damaging, not just to you and your partner, but to future situations. Like, you can sit there and you can say to yourself, "Well, that's just the way my life is. I'm gonna be alone, or I'm gonna be someone who gets angry or has flashbacks, and my parts come and do things or say things." Even though they're trying to protect me and they're trying to do what's best for the adult, they're children and they behave and act like children. Blended situations for newcomers to experiencing flashbacks of their past trauma can be very difficult, can feel extremely frustrating, create tons of stress and anxiety. Like, I have felt so lost. I have felt so confused, and you feel like you want to cry. You know, like I have many times been in another room and I sit in the chair, or I'm in my bedroom and I'm sitting on the bed and my mind is sitting there racing, thinking about what just happened. It doesn't understand. The adult is still blended, and for the longest time, instead of trying to ground yourself and become unblended, I was fighting it. I would literally do nothing. All I could do was sit there and feel bad for myself and think to myself, "I don't deserve this. Why did she get mad at me? Like, I'm just trying to defend myself, or I'm trying to tell her something. I'm upset. I don't understand." And I would do this for a half an hour. Some nights I would even do it for an hour. Like, it's super frustrating because of the fact that you don't realize that you're in this blended this state of being. You think you're the adult. You believe that the adult feels this way, that the adult acts this way. I sat there so many times feeling angry and feeling confused like nobody's business. I would wonder to myself, when am I going to get better? Why is this happening? I'm such a fool. I'm such a loser. Like, I'm going to lose my girlfriend because I can't change. I can't get better. My therapist would tell me things, give me tools to help potentially, improve the odds of recognizing that I'm blended, or after I am blended, being able to go, hey, hold on here. What the heck's going on? I'm feeling blended. I'm feeling something wrong. There's that intense feeling in my chest. There's something to talk about now that I mention that. Have you, the people who are listening right now and are experiencing episodes of CPTSD, do you get that very intense feeling in your chest? Like you're being cut off, like you're going, oh my God, what's happening? Like it's like a panic attack. You feel like you can't get out of it. You feel like you don't know what to do. Like you're confused and you're scared and you want to run away and you don't know what to say. Your brain feels like it's running like super crazy and it's going just all over the place, and you're feeling afraid, and your child parts are lashing out, saying things that that you don't even realize you're saying, and you stand there and you almost want to jump up and down, or you want to stomp your feet, and you're twitching and you're moving all over the place. Have you felt that? Do you know how that feels? Like, can you imagine experiencing that on a regular basis every day? And you feel ashamed of yourself. You feel bad. Like, I finally managed to get unblended, and I sit there and I calm down. I breathe slowly in and out. I'm sure our therapists have told us to try and stop, to breathe, to focus on the what you're hearing, the smells, what you can see, the noises, the scents that are in the room. It's like this is like one of the grounding tools that I'm sure you've been told. I would do these things and I could feel myself starting to calm down. It's very faint when I feel this, but it's like the brain, there's like a shift in the brain. You start to go, oh, that adult part of you is beginning to come back. The child parts are easing off. They're starting to let go. The adult's coming back online. You can feel that sense of normalcy that you get when you aren't triggered. I would sit there and I'd be like, wow, what was I doing? I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did that. I feel so awful. You get that pit feeling in your throat, like that when you feel horrible, like you've done something wrong and you want to fix it. Like I would get that feeling. I didn't necessarily for the longest time know what I needed to do to fix the problem. I would sit there and I would feel bad, and I would feel that lump in my throat, and I would feel a sudden scared feeling, and I would be worried. Like I wouldn't be blended anymore. I was the adult, but I would have that scared feeling, like I had done something really bad. And it would feel like I deserved it. It was like, it's my fault. I'm the dummy. I'm the stupid one. I'm the jerk. I acted inappropriate. And you get frustrated because you feel like you have no control. You don't have control over your mind, over your brain. You don't have that control over your actions. I would be so mortified, especially after a long fight with my girlfriend. I wouldn't know how to handle it. It took a long time. I'm going to tell you right now, there is no easy fix. You're not going to become unblended and suddenly go, hey, I get it. I know what to do now. I know how to fix this. That's not going to happen. That's fantasy. Maybe the odd person out there can do it, but for most of us that suffer from CPTSD and are just becoming unblended and we're grounding and we're starting to feel like the adult again, you're going to have many situations where you're going to feel lost. You're going to feel like you have no control, like there's no hope, like you don't know where you're going to get any kind of help from anybody. Not your therapist, not your partner, not your friends. You feel alone. And I have felt alone many times because the one person who I believe loves me and cares for me as who I am, as a human being, likes my thoughts, likes the way I act, likes the way I talk, and all those little things that makes that person love you, I would say that person doesn't understand what I'm going through. I can't express to them what's happening. It's like trying to talk to somebody who speaks a different language. It feels next to impossible. You might be able to get one or two words out, and they may be able to understand it to a certain degree, but you just can't get anywhere. It makes you feel powerless. Feel powerless. It makes you feel scared and alone, and it makes you want to crawl into a corner and you want to disappear. It's these kind of actions and behaviors that incorrectly reinforce to your child parts that they are alone, that the adult can't get better. It's tough. It's really hard, and it can be really frustrating, and it can hurt because you don't know where to go. You don't know who to reach out to. It feels like no matter what you do, you can't get any improvement. A lot of times you start to feel and act like you're the victim. To some degree, it is true. You are the victim. You were treated incorrectly. You were abused. You were yelled at as a child. And this was a repeated event. Whether it was a loved one, a caretaker, a teacher, maybe classmates, there's all sorts of possibilities. Back then, you were treated that way. You were the victim. And you definitely did not deserve to be treated that way. But the steps to getting better and to healing that trauma so that you're less likely to get triggered and experience these flashbacks in the future is to get the help, to stay with it, knowing that it's going to be hard work, and doing the work yourself. And then you've got to stop always falling back to feeling like the victim. I'm not saying that it's wrong to feel that way, but you do need to own the fact that you are an adult now. You need to own that you can get help for this, and if you do the hard work, you can make it better. And then eventually you can start to have a different point of view. To say to yourself, okay, I felt a trigger, that was hurtful, that was scary, but I was able to handle it better. I was able to recognize that I was blended. It's been a tough road for myself. Not every day is a great day. Yesterday, for example, was a really rough day for me. I had multiple occurrences of being triggered, and I did things and said things that were hurtful and inappropriate And it took me some time to understand and to realize what I had done. I am getting better at starting to recognize that I have triggers occurring, but it's still a long road. It's a very difficult process. I have help. I've got a therapist who knows how to deal with CPTSD. I have a partner who loves me very much, who knows how to handle CPTSD with firsthand experience. I am getting better. I am beginning to own these triggers and own these flashbacks. I'm doing the work. I am updating. I am listening to my parts. I'm feeling how they feel. I'm experiencing in real time their triggers and what was happening to them. And then I'm able to gain their trust. It's a slow process, but I'm gaining their trust and I am updating them. It's going to take multiple situations and multiple sessions of updates to allow these parts and these traumas to heal. Healing is the only way to get better. Eventually, you do have to accept that these are happening. Stop playing the victim card and start doing the work. Start acknowledging and admitting to yourself that you do need to do the work and you need to make things better. Not just for yourself, for the ones that you love, for your career, for your future. You need to do this in order to feel better inside yourself. Otherwise, you're going to continue on and having more flashbacks. And they're going to get stronger because if your parts don't see you making any attempts to make them feel better, to show them that you are capable of dealing with these triggers and healing these parts and showing them that you can do it, they're going to start rebelling. They're going to start getting worse. I have experienced this firsthand numerous times in my past. It's a hard reality to face. This isn't kind. This isn't something that's going to be like a clown handing you a balloon at the fair and rubbing your hair on your head and going, "You're a nice little guy," or "You're a great little boy." And then you smile up at them and you think about how the clown gave you this nice balloon and you had a great day at the fair. It doesn't work that way. It's hard. You're going to have tough days. You're going to have times where you just don't know how to handle it. Some of my days have been really rough. You don't feel like you want to do anything. You don't want to go anywhere. All you want to do is to try and fix the problem. But you can't fix the problem unless you start admitting to yourself that there is a problem and start doing that work and taking it seriously. If you want to get anywhere and make progress and heal your system and heal your mind, this sort of thing needs to be done every day. You need to process, not just when you're having a trigger, but you need to process when you're having an awesome time, when you're feeling great, when there is no blending, when there is no trigger. You need to show these parts the experiences. You need to show them that this can get better, that the adult can live a happy life and can do this. You don't always need to get triggered, but it's a long process and it's a lot of work. You aren't alone, everybody. I am here. You've got friends. You've got family. Hopefully there's a loved one like a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Hopefully you've got a therapist that you can talk to. Explain it. Don't be afraid to talk about these things. these issues that you're experiencing, do not be scared to tell someone. God forbid if that person that you tell doesn't take you seriously. Well, I'm sorry. And I understand how you feel. It sucks. But there are others out there. There are support groups. There are websites. There are YouTube podcasts. There are all kinds of people out there who you can talk to or who you can listen to. You are not alone in this. It takes time and it takes a lot of work. And I know it can be scary. It can be damn difficult. But trust me on this. You can get better and you are not alone. This world may be scary, but you can get there. Okay. Thank you for listening to this episode of my podcast. These are difficult at times to talk about, but I know that I'm trying to help you, the listener, to know that you're not alone and that you too can get help and that you can heal. Subscribe, follow me. I'm actually developing a website for the podcast that will be available. I am on Twitter and I do have a page on Facebook. So check it out. It is Living with ADHD and CPTSD. I'm not always going to have 2 episodes in a week. Sometimes I feel like putting out more episodes because I've got things to say and I need to express my voice to those who are alone and need help. But I will always be there. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Tell those that you love them. Okay, everybody. Till then, see you later.